The Broadway show gets bigger and better every week. I'm Tamsin Fidel, and you've come to the right place for the brightest stars, biggest shows, and amazing musical performances. Here we go. It's a Wonderful World. Tony winner James Monroe Iglehart is headed back to Broadway, playing Louis Armstrong in A Wonderful World at Studio 54.
During the pandemic, I was at home doing like everybody else, watching whatever Netflix binge shows you can, and I always wanted to watch Ken Burns' Jazz. So I told my wife, I said, let's watch it. The first 3 episodes were about Louis Armstrong. And I said, why has nobody made a musical about this? So I look it up, and they were working on it. So I called my agent and I said, hey, tell them I want to be a part of it anyway. Can I be a producer or something? And they were like, you want to be in it? And I was like, yes, I do.
James is a star. When you can't take your eyes off somebody on stage, he's riveting. He not only loves Louis Armstrong and has morphed into this role, but the fact that he trained to sound like him without damaging his voice, which is really important. You know, that takes guts, but also dedication. I mean, those are real pros that said, not only am I going to play this role, but I will make sure that I bring the audience in on what made Louis special.
The story is told through the perspective of also his 4 wives, and we get a chance to explore his entire life, the triumphs, the failures, the challenges, the joys and highlights of his career against the backdrop of real life events and everything that he was for and against, and also things that he was criticized about and how he was able to navigate his way through that. We're going to learn a lot of information about his life over 70 years of time.
Jazz has a conversational element. Like musical theater, it's easy to tell the story through the lyric because the lyric it's straightforward, it's basic, anyone can connect to it. So I really enjoy the conversational aspect of connecting to the lyric of those beloved songs.
Jazz is centuries old. It's been a catalyst for people to heal. It's been a catalyst for people to stop wars, which is something that happened during Louis Armstrong's life. It has been a catalyst for so many valuable changes in our society, bringing people together, mostly bringing people together.
As Black people, being able to share the origins of this music with audiences, it gives me a great sense of pride to be able to sing something that's so familiar. Music that we grew up in our households listening to is now coming to this big stage and being shared with audiences. So we get to celebrate our legacy as African Americans in this country through this story, and I think that that's really important. And it also feels really great in the room to be able to be at home in this material.
It's so based in the human experience and relating us to each other. That's what art is, you know, when you boil it down. And I think it's so raw in jazz, especially jazz of that era coming straight out of the blues and ragtime and coming straight out of Pain and coming straight out of Beale Street and Bourbon Street and Basin Street and these places that were so wrought with tension that they had to have something beautiful come out of it. And that's what we get to recreate and tell the story of the birthing of. And that is what is so exciting to me, is that you get placed right back in the center of that mixing bowl of things.
I identify with him a lot. I identify with a guy who literally just wants to be on stage and play and really doesn't want to deal with the rest of the world. But as you grow up as an adult, you realize I have to adult. It's a part of life. I can't just play all the time. And when I figured that out about him, I was like, we have a lot in common. And it's been so much fun to get to play in that world. I mean, how often do you get to play in real jazz? And I'm not a jazzy guy. I became one, but now I'm like, this is it. So it's been so much fun to kind of like get in his head and watch the decisions that were good decisions and bad decisions. And those are the most fun, the bad decisions. You're like, wow, you really did that. And nobody told you not to. That's the great part. So I'm having a ball.